Welcome to the PinkpillRx podcast, hosted by Katie and Jay Fillmore, where we navigate complex and thought-provoking topics surrounding women with a focus on education. For shorter form content, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at Caters88 or PinkpillRx.
That's KATORS88.
If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a follow and maybe a nice review. We are so glad you're here this week with another episode of Pink Pill. And just want to remind you guys that even though things going on in the world are just can be very frightening, can be very discouraging, being a part of a community, whether that's virtual or whether that's in person, of people that, you know, think the way that you do, we think that this doesn't do anything. But the fact that it helps our mental health and the fact that we can find some type of community with other people, and education is never meaningless, you know? And I just want to put that out there because I struggle with watching the news and I struggle with seeing the prices everywhere. And, you know, but education is never vain. And neither is being a part of something with like-minded individuals. You know what I mean?
We're going to get some education today.
I have no idea what it is because I need to tell you guys this. Katie writes every episode and she edits and she researches and she cites. I post it and am in it. But like, you do so much of the work for this. Like just today, she wrote this episode, did all the research. Earlier, she said we went for a walk, and before she was updating her citations on her website. And now we're going to do this, and she's going to spend a good chunk of tonight or tomorrow editing this. And I just want to say thank you.
Hey, thanks for thanking me, man.
You're welcome, bro. Welcome, bro.
You know, I have to apologize because last week's episode, I actually didn't post the citations for. So that is fixed. So if you listened to last week's episode and you were wanting those citations, they are now live on the citation link.
Great.
Speaking of me working on citations.
It's too much for one person.
It is. It can get
I better
be a lot.
Get off of my lazy bum.
Maybe you should. I'm just joking. Do you know what Jay does? Jay does like everything around the house so that I can do this. Jay supports me so that I can pursue my dreams.
That makes me feel really good.
You really do. You do so much so that I can do more creative endeavors.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah. Okay, now we're done patting each other on the back. We can move on.
In public here, just...
Yes. PDA.
Mwah.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump in because that's
Just
the only
jump
way
in.
I know how to do this is just to like, okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Here we go.
Okay.
Action.
Do you remember the year women were finally required to be included in medical research?
1993.
I'm so proud of you. Good job.
Thank you.
There's a lot of dates we throw around, so it's hard to remember certain dates. Yes, 1993. You're right.
Yep.
So that was 32 years ago. Just to put that into perspective for people.
I don't know why 1993 felt a lot longer ago than that.
I was 4. No, I'm sorry. I was 5 at the time.
I was 4.
Okay.
You're thinking of me, maybe.
Okay.
Well, Katie, depending on when in the year, you could have been 4.
When Jay and I knew each other in high school, I didn't want to date him because he was younger than me by 6 months. And that was just unacceptable.
Actually, a little less than 6 months. You're rounding up to 6 months. But continue.
Anyways, 32 years ago, not that long ago. Even after that, the majority of preclinical drug testing on animals and cell lines remained male only.
So just male animals?
Yeah. Because hormones just made things too complicated.
Wait, but then in clinical trials, they include women now, right? Right? Since 1993?
They include women in drug trials.
Yeah.
But the first phases of these trials and drugs. Yes. Now they include women in these drug trials. Like they're supposed to include women in these drug trials.
But they haven't tested them on female animals prior a lot of the time.
Yes.
Okay. So they're just trying something that's never been tried on a female species of anything and saying, oh, ladies, here you go.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. That seems very dangerous and irresponsible.
Well, the NIH came out and said, hey, listen, guys.
I oughta.
As of January 25th, 2016, they now require researchers to include both male and female animals
Good.
and human cell lines
Jeez.
with NIH-funded research.
So there's 20. Oh, if it's NIH funded.
Yes.
Yeah, they can only. Okay.
They require them to analyze data by sex or justify why they didn't. So, yes, basically what you're saying is true, that there are drugs being tried on women that haven't been tried on female animals or cell lines unless you got funding through certain organizations that do require that. But even if we go with the NIH policy, 2016, right? That's less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was 23 years of not having female animals tested before female humans, right?
Like from 1993
to
you
2016.
mean? Yes, but I'm thinking even before that. Think about how many decades and decades and decades and decades.
Oh, I'm not even getting into that yet. I didn't know we were there.
So we're less than 12 years into meaningful dual sex medical research across many conditions like autoimmune, cancer, cardiovascular, chronic pain.
Okay. Out of all of the clinical trials that are conducted in a year, what percent, do you know what percent are NIH funded?
The numbers I'm seeing is about 1/3
Are funded by NIH?
of U.S. medical research.
So the other 2/3, there's a good chance that a majority of them, perhaps, do not use female animal test subjects.
I mean, it's possible.
Nothing with a cycle. What I'm hearing.
They come primarily through the private sector. So pharmaceutical companies, biotech firms.
Okay, so they probably use their own funds.
Yeah.
So then they aren't subject to this.
And then there's other federal agencies like the CDC, FDA, things like that also fund research. But that's only like 5 to 8%.
Yeah, so the majority per year still doesn't use female test subjects that are non-human.
Yeah, about 60% is private industry.
Yeah, so that's pretty awful.
So yeah, that was just something that I didn't realize because I thought, oh, we're clear. After 1993, we've made progress.
Well,
we have made some progress, but it wasn't until 2016 that at least 1/3 of medical research requires that more than just male lines be used.
Male's primary hormone is testosterone, correct?
I mean, yeah.
And then women's is progesterone and estrogen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with animals, is it the same thing? Progesterone and estrogen for female animals and testosterone for male animals?
I believe so.
So then you don't know how progesterone and estrogen are going to interact with these drugs.
Yes, and that's why, but they feel like progesterone and estrogen are too complicated.
What? So you can't do a trial? What?
I know. Listen, I don't make the rules. I just talk about them.
I know you don't because you're a woman.
Touche.
I wish it wasn't that way.
Touche.
I really wish it wasn't.
Do you know what BMI is?
Body mass index?
Yes. Do you know what it is, like what it's used for?
I just know a body fat percent is supposedly more accurate.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah, so BMI is calculated as weight in kilograms divided by height. And it's used to classify individuals into weight categories like underweight, normal weight, overweight, obese.
Doesn't take into account the type of weight, though?
This is what I'm getting to.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm feeling chatty tonight.
So, for example, I am overweight. And if I gained 10 pounds, I would be obese.
Okay.
You are normal weight. Okay. But if you were to gain 20 pounds, you'd be overweight. Mm-hmm. Okay, put a pin in that for a minute. They use it also to screen for potential health risks like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, hypertension. They use it to determine eligibility for medical procedures or insurance plans. They use it to guide public health guidelines and obesity-related policies. But it does not account for muscle mass, bone density, gender, age, or body composition. So if I gained 10 pounds of muscle, I would be healthier, but I would be considered obese. If you gain 20 pounds of muscle, you'd be considered overweight.
So if I had like a staggering 5% body fat and I was cut and I weighed a certain amount, I'd be considered obese?
Yes, according to your BMI, yes.
Why do we
And
use
insurance
this?
company could look at that and say, we're going to raise your premiums.
Why? I don't understand. Where did this even come from? Why is this used?
Oh, great.
It seems so inaccurate.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Thank you.
It was invented by Adolphe Quetelet, a Belgian astronomer and statistician in the 1830s.
I was like, oh, let's just divide these two things.
Not a doctor. Note that. Not a doctor.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
But he wanted to define the average man. Okay, he called it the Quetelet Index. It was never intended for individual health assessment. His goal was to identify a norm of physical form.
Okay, statistician, that makes sense.
And what he saw as a social average, not a biological or medical standard.
Sure.
It was all based on white, European, male bodies only. Women and children were purposefully excluded, as well as people of color.
Okay. Well, as a statistician, that makes sense for him. You want to exclude all the variables possible and just do it with this one variable, which is this ratio.
You can see how this might cause a problem, though, or face compounded issues because he's using a Eurocentric body norm.
Yeah.
And for example, women often have more body fat than men have.
Right, which is healthy.
Yeah, which is considered healthy.
Way.
Yes. Like Asian populations have higher health risks at lower BMIs, while some Black populations may have lower risks at higher BMIs. Yet all are held to the same inaccurate metric. How did this happen?
Thank you. Yeah, how?
Life insurance companies turned this formula into a risk assessment and premium pricing tool. So these eventually morphed into widespread BMI categories as they were a cheap and easy way to access large populations of people. Ansel Keys rebranded it in the 1970s as a body mass index based on a white man. And it was adopted by the World Health Organization and the CDCs in the 80s.
Why?
Classifying millions as overweight and obese.
This is so stupid. And it's stupid. Take away gender and things like that, or race, or like, I don't know, if you had an amputation of a limb, okay? Take all that away. This still has no medical relevance. It just shows you how far you've deviated from a norm, not from something that's optimal.
Now, I will say that women did get into some of these studies slowly over time after this was more popularized. By the 1990s, there were large-scale studies that did begin to include women systematically. And in 1995 and 2000, those BMI reports used data from millions of adults, including both men and women across ethnicities and countries. So it's gotten like a little bit better. But the problem is it never, ever acknowledges sex-based differences in fat distribution. It never addresses hormonal variations that are caused a lot of times by estrogen.
Oh, yeah.
And reproductive life stages like pregnancy, menopause, which affect women dramatically.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, women eventually were allowed into this, the way that it is used and executed is very sexist and very much based on the male norm still.
You know what? You know freaking what, Katie? If they want to make it accurate, when these women were included in these studies, you have to isolate for every variable. You're just isolating for BMI. But when they have women who are premenopausal, menopausal, or women who are in specifically different parts of their cycle even, those things aren't accounted for. Where you should have, all of these women in this phase of their cycle, included them in this statistical data. And then that number that is retrieved from that data should be used for women's BMI. Like if you go into the doctor's office, or if you're in this phase of your cycle, this is the BMI for you. If you are in this phase of your cycle, this is for you. If you're menopausal, this is the one for you.
Then we'd have to teach women about their bodies. And it all comes back to that, doesn't it? So I would need to lose like 20 pounds to be considered normal. I mean,
that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right.
I know that's what everyone's thinking you should respond as, but I do think that your response is genuine.
It doesn't. You'd lose 20 pounds?
I mean, I just want you to picture what I would look like.
Like, I just feel like people...
Jay, think about my boobs.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about that.
I mean, just think about it.
I did, and I didn't say a word. And I still won't say a word. But I will say, however, 20 pounds is a lot of weight for someone to have to lose. And like that is a lot of weight. So to look at you and think you have to lose that much weight to be in this category, I don't know. That doesn't seem right to me. It's a lot.
Yeah. And if I'm not in that category, I could have to pay higher premiums potentially.
You know what?
I could I'm just saying, like, look at me.
Yeah.
Like, look at me now, me just as a person.
Yeah.
And you know how I live my life, and you know how I eat, and you know how, like, I'll take all that stuff into consideration. That, like, someone's going to look at me and they're going to say, wow, you're really, like, we're going to have to charge you more money.
Yeah. Just by looking at you, someone's not going to think that. But they got this number. I mean, your labs were insanely good. They were, like, perfect.
BMI is weaponized against women. It's used to deny fertility care. It's used to deny women the ability to VBAC, which is vaginal birth after cesarean.
Really?
It's used to deny women certain birth control options. And as a result, women are likely to be labeled overweight or obese even when they're metabolically healthy, which increase the risks of eating disorders. BMI, the skewed BMI increases the risk of insurance denials for different procedures or medications. And it increases misdiagnosis because there's this barrier that everything's due to your weight.
Yeah.
Well, it's just because you're fat. That's your problem. Studies have shown that women are more likely to be denied diagnostic testing or treatment because their symptoms are blamed on their weight. Higher BMI leads to increased premiums or denial of coverage, which disproportionately impacts women. Women with higher BMIs often report dismissive, shaming, or delayed care, especially when it comes to reproductive health, thyroid health, cardiovascular health, and pain-related medical conditions. It even impacts transplant access compared to men. Women with a BMI of 25 or over 25,
Yeah.
so me,
Okay.
I need a kidney. I am less likely to get a kidney than a man who has the exact same number.
Why? Why?
In
Is
fact,
there a reason you
he's
have?
more likely, statistically, to get a kidney.
Why? It's the same number.
Great
though.
question. Great question. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm still talking about kidneys. Women are the majority of living donors. They make up about 60%. But they are less likely to receive a transplant themselves.
Wait a minute. Does that mean some men receive women's kidneys?
More men receive women's kidneys than women who receive women's kidneys.
What? First of all, oh my gosh. First of all, I didn't know. I had no idea. I guess if the blood type matches, but I never thought you could cross genders with the organs. Period, Katie. But I guess, do I just not watch enough medical shows? Have I been that medically sheltered because no one in my family has needed a transplant?
Probably.
I didn't think that organs could cross the gender divide.
Well, they can.
So if I needed a kidney, I could have a woman's kidney.
Yes.
But then isn't her just DNA floating around? Is that why you need medications?
Anti-inject, yes.
Because someone else's DNA is just floating around in here.
Yes.
And I'm thinking if it's an XX
it's
chromosome,
literally
it's way
a
different.
foreign body inside your body.
That's just, okay, first of all, that's mind-blowing to me. Second of all, you said more men receive women's kidneys than women. Like, more men receive women's kidneys than women.
Yes. Can we continue down this road together?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was possible. But then to hear that more men get women's kidneys than women, we even take more of your organs. Like, we're just leeching off you left and right. Free unpaid labor, Give me your organs.
Yeah, well.
Like really though? Like that's okay, just keep going. Like is that really though?
Jay, in India,
Uh-huh.
women are 75% of the donors and they're only 27.6% of the recipients.
So all these men are stealing these women's kidneys. I haven't been shocked like this in a while. I can't believe that men get more of women's kidneys than women.
6 in 10 kidney donors are women, but 6 in 10 recipients are men. Do you know what's also bad?
What? That's just what?
This is a little contested, I will say this, but there is research out there where men actually fare worse when receiving organs from female donors.
Oh my God, we take all your stuff. That feels like a Black Mirror thing. Like that would feel like a dystopian, like we're colonizing your bodies for your organs is what it feels like.
So for a kidney transplant, when adjusted for age, they discovered that women aged 18 to 55 have about an equivalent access to transplant. However, for older women, that access to transplant disparity widened exponentially. Ages 56 to 65 had 15% less access to transplant. Age 75 and above, 59% less access to transplant compared to the male counterparts. And this persisted for both deceased donor and live donor kidney transplants. So, because you can get a kidney from somebody who's deceased and then also for someone who's alive.
Yeah.
So overall, if they took all those ages and they gave it an average, they were 11% less likely or had 11% less access to transplant. And you got to think that less access to transplant, though, this isn't just like less access to a physical kidney. Access to transplant is going to include the care leading up to transplant, post-transplant, like this access to transplant. Like they have very strict rules for you to qualify for transplant. And sometimes you just cannot fulfill those requirements.
This feels familiar. We did an episode with statistics where as women got older, the stat got worse and worse.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but then I think you discussed how the devaluation of women as they get older. Because do we know why it keeps going down as women get older in here?
Yeah, they say that it's because there's like medical bias towards women when they get older, that they're frail or that they wouldn't like survive something like that. This is an exact quote. Disparity was present in older women, meaning the disparity of access to transplant, and magnified in women with comorbidities. This could suggest perceived frailty. This could lead providers to incorrectly assume women will not be able to tolerate or benefit from a major surgery and affect the therapy options offered to them.
I really need a sec with that one. Okay. Do you mean it's because doctors, I don't think they can do it.
Mm-hmm. There's this perception of frailty. Women are kept on dialysis longer than men before getting on a transplant list.
Women are kept on dialysis longer than men, you said?
Mm-hmm. Before getting a transplant.
Yeah. How many women have died? How many women have died? How many women have died? Like that, I'm so pissed off because that's the best reason, because there's a bias and we don't think they can do it. They're too frail.
I mean, that's one of the ones that comes up repeatedly as a cause.
Dude,
I'm not saying there's not other things.
There are certain things that make me feel really deep in my body that I feel like this is really evil. And this is one of those things. I've had those with some things with the government before, and but this is because your subjective opinion is why. Would that be like a kind of implicit bias?
Yes. It is life-threatening. Bias literally kills people. And when I say that, I become hyper aware, like, what else am I biased on? Because I can see how powerful bias is.
It makes me immediately think, okay, how can I just consistently emphasize with my children, don't you dare be biased. You know what I mean? Like as a broad, even just a broad concept, like I want it to be drilled into them. Not drilled as in, I'm not drill sergeant, but like instilled in them that is a very, very, very bad thing to have a bias about anything. Like you always want to look as objectively as you can. Because that's truth and the world needs more truth.
Yes. Because
biases, you're not looking at things objectively as reality. You're looking at them through a lens. It's no longer truth. It's something that's a false iteration.
Yeah.
And we always instill our kids, we want them to be truth tellers. Well, then you need to be objective and not be biased if you want to be a truth teller. I'm going through my mind. Okay, did I potentially lose any female like ancestors, like my mom's mom, who had cancer that I never met? How was her treatment? Was she affected because she was a woman when she had cancer?
Do you know women make up the most living donors, but deceased donors, they're only 40%. Men are 60% deceased donors. Do you want to know why? Well, the most cited reason women will not agree to donate organs or donate their kidney, but I would assume this would be organs, but this particular thing is talking about that. Women are less likely to donate after being after deceased due to worries about improper conduct postmortem.
Dude, I'm done. I'm so done. I even just feel like taking a break from recording because like tonight, because
well,
this is just that is really awful. Like man, that you have to worry about that. And on top of the fact that, we're just not going to give older women, increasingly, we're just not going to give them access to transplant because we think, they're a little frail. Don't think they can handle it. You're just basically playing God because of your subjective opinion of what they look like and how they would perform. I'm not saying all doctors, but I'm saying if it keeps popping up, it's probably a common enough thing.
If you want to take a break, we can totally take a break, but I can't not talk about the rest of this topic.
Yeah, I might just listen for a couple
intersectionality of it.
Yeah.
Because I would not do this topic justice. I'm not doing this topic justice because I'm not like a transplant expert or anything like that whatsoever. This is just my lay research into this. But there is profound intersectionality here when it comes to race. The current organ transplantation system in the United States is extremely inequitable. Certain groups of patients, like racial, ethnic minority populations, lower socioeconomic status, female gender, older patients, individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities, or inheritable diseases such as cystic fibrosis, they all receive organ transplants at a disproportionately lower rate. And in some cases, after much longer wait times than other patients with comparable needs. First of all, I want to say that Black people have a disproportionate need for kidney transplant. They're 4 times as likely to develop kidney failure than a white person is, but they are much, much less likely to receive life-saving kidney transplant. In 2021, 47% of white patients on the waiting list received transplants compared to nearly 28% of the Black people on the waiting list. There was a big scandal because their estimated GFRs, their GFRs basically, which is the estimated glomerular filtration rate. It measures kidney function.
Okay.
And it helps determine how urgently someone needs a new kidney and they're placed on the wait list. Mm-hmm. They were calculated in a way that disproportionately impacted Black people. They tended to get added to the transplant list later, a lot of times like 5 years plus later on average, and they have to wait a year longer than they have to wait a year longer than white patients to get a kidney transplant, according to the National Kidney Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So this GFR is used to evaluate kidney function and determine transplant eligibility. And for decades, the standard GFR formula included a modifier for Black patients based on the belief they had higher muscle mass.
Oh my God. It's based on a belief?
And this assumption was not based on biological fact, but on flawed and outdated research.
It's just like assuming old women can't handle a transplant.
Yeah. So the result was that Black patients' kidney functions were systematically overestimated.
Oh my God.
Meaning their disease appeared less severe on paper.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So this delayed diagnosis postponed necessary treatment and made it harder for Black patients to qualify for transplant lists.
Oh my God.
But in 2023, they mandated the removal of race from GFR calculations. And transplant centers were ordered to recalculate the GFRs and waiting times for Black patients already on the transplant list.
Mm-hmm.
For some, this correction restored 4 or more years of lost waiting time, immediately moving them up the transplant list.
Oh. How many Black people just died waiting for
Yes, and remember, Black people are 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure than white people.
What a racist formula. Because this belief about muscle mass, because of a belief. So beliefs killed people here. Right? I mean, beliefs kill people.
Oh, they do.
Right here. This was like, and that's a good example of systematic racism. Because this score is used in this broader system to determine access to transplants or wait times for it. That's a racist formula, dude. That is insane. And it's based off of a belief. Because with the elderly, like the older women and with Black people, like they're both, it's just done because people think that that's what's reality. Yeah, this is what I believe. This is what I think. And we're going to go with that. Wow. So then it just makes me think, what others?
Yeah.
I wonder how many people in the medical field were unaware that modifying thing is included in that formula. Do you think they're running their own manual calculations or typing in a computer?
No.
And they don't know that the algorithm that's calculating it, when you check the black box under race, changes the formula. How many of them didn't even know? And then how many did know and just chose that? Like, I have so many questions. I just need to hear from people who are different than me, what their experience is, and just hear more and more of that all the time. Because I can't really look at the world and see the world as it really is, or if I don't hear from those who have lived in a different world than me. Like, I need all of those different parts of the mosaic together to be able to look at what the world really is like. And so if I don't listen to people who are different from me, they can give me like, this is how a woman experiences, this is how a woman experiences my particular location, age, socioeconomic status. And then, here's a person of color, same age, socioeconomic status, geography. But then what if I choose a different race and a different socioeconomic status or different geography? Like, all these people experience the world in infinitely different ways than one another.
Yeah.
And so if I want to have a better and more clear picture of what the world really is, I have to hear from more and more people that are different from me. Otherwise, I'm just living in a very subjective world versus something that, like, I can say this is maybe more objective reality because I can see all these different things that are a part of it,
Mm-hmm. Transplant centers had until January 2024, though, to complete these calculations.
Oh my gosh.
And some patients, you know, it'll make a difference. Like they'll be like 1,000th in line and instead they're like 800th. Jasmine Evans had been waiting for a kidney for 4 years when her hospital revealed shocking news. She should have been put on the transplant list in 2015 instead of 2019. And that particular racially biased organ test was to blame.
Oh.
And she was more than 14,000 Black kidney transplant candidates so far given credit for lost waiting time, moving them up the priority list.
Just 4 years of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of a racist belief. Unfounded belief. Because of your opinion of this group of people.
Yeah.
They're muscles. They're bigger.
Mm.
That seems that way to me. Here's this formula. And then just all of these poor people. Poor people just deny what they needed. Oh my gosh. It's really sickening. It's so sick. It's so sickening.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I'm just so disgusted. Well, might have broke me with this one. I hope for those of you listening, something was intriguing or sparked a curiosity, or you felt affirmed or challenged. Stay educated. Take the pink pill. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a follow and maybe a nice review.